I'm here with Sean Tucker. He's an associate professor in the Faculty of Business and Administration at the University of Regina. He studies occupational health and safety and how to prevent these kind of workplace fatalities. Sean, tell me, what do you make of the fact that 37 people have lost their lives so far in 2018?
Well, the number's concerning. We had the past 2 years a relatively lower number of fatalities, and that came off of a peak between 2009 and 2014 where there's a dramatic rise in fatalities. So I think many were hoping that some of the changes that have been made would not lead to a situation like this, and unfortunately it tells us that there's more work to be done. It's of great concern.
What's behind the uptick? I know that's always a tough one to answer, but in your mind, what is behind this increase we're seeing this year?
Well, if we compare ourselves to Alberta and their fatality rate between January 1st and August 31st this year, historically our fatality rate will trend with theirs, more or less historically. However, this year ours is 62% higher than Alberta's. And so there's something happening here. When we talk about prevention in a broad sense, in Saskatchewan, we're talking about culture and the systemic issues around lack of awareness, lack of knowledge among employers, managers, supervisors, on down to workers, of really basic prevention in the workplace. So, some of my recommendations are targeted towards those areas of greater public awareness of rights and responsibilities, continuing to work with youth to provide them with more knowledge and training about health and safety, and then also continuing doing occupational health and safety inspections and prosecuting where there's been serious injury or fatality and there's a need for prosecution.
You make a list of recommendations about what can be done. If you had it your way, what's the number one recommendation that you would prioritize that should get done maybe before the others?
It's hard to pick a single thing. Let me just say this, that there's three I would say that are really important that I think. One is that our newcomers to Saskatchewan who don't speak English, we don't provide basic materials in their language, and we should do that. Manitoba does that, Alberta does that, and we really need to work on that. I'm also concerned about young people who go to work for their first job. They're inexperienced, they may not be aware of the hazards in the workplace, and they have this right to refuse dangerous work. But if they don't know what the dangers are, they may not know when to use that right. And so one of the things that I'm calling for is an amendment to the Saskatchewan Employment Act to allow co-workers to refuse dangerous work on behalf of vulnerable workers. I think that's something we could do as well.